And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Scene Live. This is a space for entrepreneurs who are building something meaningful and want a business that supports their life, not just their income. I'm Kim Speed, and I'm a brand clarity coach and entrepreneur, and I've worked with experienced professionals who own service based businesses but are still struggling with consistent clients. And on this show, we share real stories of what actually worked and what didn't, and the lessons that we learn only by doing the work. My goal here is to help you get clearer and feel more confident being visible and being a building a business that is more stable, more aligned, and sustainable. So I'm so glad you're here. And today's guest is someone who's going to help us with exactly that. Exactly that. Somebody who understands live events from a very different perspective than most people in the speaking world. My guest is Steve Werner, and he is a strategist behind the scenes of helping entrepreneurs, Fortune 500 brands, and national nonprofit design live and virtual events that actually move people into action. The type of events he's helped shape have generated over $150 million in revenue, and not through hype, not through those pitch fests that sometimes pass as keynotes. What Steve focuses on instead is something that's more of a belief shifting experience, the kind of events that connect with an audience, build trust, and naturally lead to real business growth. And so I'm really excited to have Steve on. Steve, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me.
My pleasure, Kim. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, and I am so excited to have you on because this is all about getting people more visible. I love talking about, marketing and branding and giving people the confidence to move their business ahead. And speaking and events is huge, huge, huge. And it has helped me so much in my business. But before we get into all of that, Steve, I always like to start with, how did you begin your entrepreneurial path? How did your journey begin, and what led you to focusing on helping people with events?
Yeah, great question. So 2000 like 13, I worked for Vail Resorts. I'd been working. I moved out here because I'm a ski bum. I still live in Colorado. I moved out here and worked for Vail Resorts, and I went to a Tony Robbins event. And he asked the question, is your life going in the direction that you want it to go? If we fast forward 5 years, 10 years, 20 years into the future, is that where you want to be? And I really liked my job at the time, but it was just that it was a job. I was building somebody else's business at the end of the day. Like, I was getting paid reasonably well for it, but I was pretty much at the very top of what I could be paid. It was right around six figures, just over six figures. I didn't really see a lot of room for growth there. And it wasn't what I wanted to spend the rest of my life doing. So I left that event, and Tony asked us to, look forward. What do you want to do? And I had always dreamed of being, a public speaker, being somebody that was on stage. I had no idea how to do that. So I just kind of jumped in. I started reading a couple different books. I went to Vegas. I booked a huge ballroom, and I just decided I was going to start selling tickets. As you can imagine, that probably didn't go very well. We ended up having to cancel that event. I lost more than $60,000. I cashed out most of my 401k. But it was a huge learning experience.
Yeah.
It like opened the door. So there's a couple things lessons from it. The first thing is you don't make money from selling tickets. You make money from selling the back end product on stage. Keynote speakers love to say that, they get paid $5,000-$10,000 per keynote. There's nothing wrong with that, and that's good income, but that is something that you have to go out, find the places to speak, go speak again, and keep rinse and repeating that. Somebody that has a business, you don't want to make your money through keynote speaking. You want to make your money through selling your product or service. That means when you speak on stage, be willing to speak for free, have a back-end product, have a lead generation system where you capture the audience and you can then move them through your funnel into becoming a client. I didn't know any of that in the beginning. I had to learn that. It took me like 2 or 3 years.
And
And
I'm so glad that you mentioned the whole, because there's so many people that I've seen that are trying to teach people to speak and get paid for speaking. And you're right, get paid $5,000, maybe 10. There's the occasional really good, sort of, I would call them celebrity status, that get paid a lot more for that. But that's not the type of speaking that most people in business are getting, right?
yeah, I mean, that's there's two things that I'll say to that. The first thing is, if you're going to be a full-time keynote speaker, plan to put a couple years into it. And right now we've actually seen the amount of money that keynotes are making going down, not going up. The
Yeah.
reason being a lot of virtual events, it's much harder to put people in rooms. And when they look at their budget, there are people out there that it's just like, it's easier to find a $5,000 or a $3,000 keynote, even working with speakers bureaus and all of that. And it's a full-time job. If you run a business, especially if you have a service-based business, Kim, I know that's your audience.
Yeah.
Your job is not to go get a keynote paid speaking gig. Your job is to go generate leads that will pay you. And here's the thing, you might get $5,000 for speaking somewhere. That's one-time payment. The real key is to go generate leads that will pay you over and over and over again. That's the real goal. So whether it's your own event or whether you're speaking on somebody else's event, don't worry about getting paid as a keynote. Worry about getting paid on the back end. That's the real goal here. We can talk more about that if you want.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's great. I just wanted to make sure that we kind of clarified that, because it's two different things. And as people that are in business already, with your, knowledge and expertise that you're providing something to people as your business, this is actually a really great opportunity. Events are really impactful for business growth. So I'd love to chat a little bit more about that, Steve, if we could get into that.
So there have been several studies done that point to the fact that somebody that is in a live room with you will pay you somewhere between 15 and 20 times, not percent, X, 15 to 20 times more money. It also greatly shortcuts the trust factor. So we can talk about virtual events a little bit later, but I just want to talk about live events. This weekend, one of my clients, we held a live event. It was not a huge live event. We had 24 buying units in the room with a room of about 45 people. What do you think that room generated, if you had to guess?
Okay, I'm going to be just off the cuff here. Let's say 50,000.
190.
190,000 with how many people?
22 buying units and about 45 people.
Wow.
Now, these people, there's two caveats that I'll put on there. That's a really strong number. If you're just getting started, that's not where you're going to aim. Most of these people have been in this person's realm for at least 9 months. Okay. He's done a lot of lead gen for the last 2 years. He then did some virtual events, got people warmed up. They've been in his realm. So we were able, this is a long-term funnel. This is not an overnight riches funnel. This is, you plan it out, you get people there. So we made 3 different offers. We made one offer from the stage, and then we had salespeople that would pull them out. And if the offer from the stage wasn't the right offer, we made them a different offer depending on their pain points. So we had offers anywhere from 10,000 all the way up to 40,000.
Wow.
And
wow.
That right there, it was also a 3-day event. Some people, I have another client that I'm working with. They've been holding 1-day events. 1-day events are great. you can usually get a 10K sale out of a 1 day event. But if you want to go higher than that, 3 days showing your expertise, because here's what happens. Day one, people are warming up. They're like, is this for me? How do I feel? Day
Yeah.
two, they're really leaning in. And day three, they feel like family. Most of your sales also come on day three. To prove that point, going into day three on this event, we had about 55K in sales. So we added over 100, about 140, 135 in day three. Day three is where most of your sales are going to come from.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I know that there's probably people that would be listening to this going, that seems like a lot of nurturing. And then that also seems like a lot of time to do an event.
Sure.
So, how do we get people that, to feel more comfortable about doing events? I know that you talk a lot about you don't have to be the celebrity, you don't have to be the performer. Um, but how can people become more comfortable and better on stage?
Sure. The first thing is, so I'll break this down into 3 key points, and I'll try to be very concise about it. The first thing is, our biggest fear is other people judging us. Now, usually that's hidden behind all kinds of smoke screens. I want to give a lot of value. I don't want to be salesy. I want to make sure that I run the best event. If you pull all of that back and you peel the onion back, the real fear is I don't want to be judged.
Yeah.
That
Sure.
leads to us teaching way too much. The people that are coming are at a level usually 1, 2, or 3 out of 10. They're somewhere in the beginning phase. Your goal is to get them to lean in and trust you, not to teach them everything that you know.
Right.
So your goal is to get them to a level 5. Don't try to go any deeper than a level 5.
Okay.
That's the first thing. And that doesn't matter whether you're speaking for 1 hour at a local Rotary Club, or you're on stage at a local event, or you're doing a virtual summit. Like, I see summits all the time. We host 2 to 3 summits a month, and we see people on our summits try to dump 10 years of knowledge into a 30-minute presentation. All that does is lead the person on the other end to brain fog and overwhelm, and a lot of times it leads them to running away. What do you do if you're at an event? Like, I'll rephrase that question. If you're at an event and you feel like the person on stage is teaching at a PhD level, what do? We get out our phone, we start
Yeah.
scrolling, or we leave the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the first point is only teach to a level 5. The
Okay. Yeah.
second piece
That's a great point.
is use a lot of stories and humor. So this event this weekend, the person who was hosting it had some of these beliefs. He was like, I feel like I need to teach more. I've already taught these things. And I said, no. People need to rehear the thing 3 to 5 times. And each time they hear it, they're going to hear it a little different. They're going to have different questions. And their brain is actually opening up to the possibility of what you're teaching.
Right. Okay, I have a question for you. There's going to be people out there that say, I'm not funny. I'm not that type of person. How can I do this?
Sure.
And not feel like an imposter?
I have a couple answers. One, everybody can learn a few good jokes.
Yeah.
Everybody can also learn how to tell a story. If you want, we have a whole story training, Kim. I'm happy to drop that. I think you might have that as our freebie. It's called Death to Bad Webinars, but the reason that most webinars don't convert is because people don't use stories. So about half of that training is how to tell great stories around what you do. It's completely free training, deathtobadwebinars.com. Kim, you can drop that.
Yeah, definitely.
The other piece that I would say to that, when I got started, my the first event that I held successfully, I didn't speak on at all. I brought in other speakers that were in that niche. It was a chiropractic niche. So I brought in a bunch of chiropractors to speak. My mentor said, "Why'd you do that?" And I said, "Well, I don't know how to speak on chiropractic." He said, "Watch some videos, learn, and then you get up there and you do the same thing." And I was like, how do I do that? And he said, what I would do and what I would tell you to do is memorize their talk. So find a good TED talk that you really like. There's two different talks. First one is a TED talk that you really like, the tonality, the delivery, the pacing, and you put it on your screen. You do 10 seconds, you watch 10 seconds. If you do that like 5 or 6 times, you'll start ingraining that talk. And then you go for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So he had me do that for 90 days. The second talk that you want to learn is find somebody on your subject matter, the closest person. Listen to them. Here's the thing, like there's not really a new idea under the sun. They're really rare. The same stuff I'm teaching you here, you can go find 10 books on Amazon. You can go find other people teaching on YouTube. People buy you,
Yes.
not your information.
Yes. That is so, so true. Because if that weren't true, then, there would only be like one person that would, get all of the business. And we have seen whether it's a product, we were talking about apps on the weekend, people are creating apps and so many people have the option to, and they said, well, what if this is already done? But if you go in the app store, like there's tons of the same types of apps. And it's the same with you as an entrepreneur. There's going to be lots of people that do the same thing. You've got to get past that and realize that people are going to buy you. There's something, about you that people are going to connect with or not. And that's okay too.
Well, that's a perfect example of this. Like you can look around at all the different spaces out there and you can see people that teach the same basic thing, but they approach it differently. Their stories are different and they have a completely different vibe. A really good example of this is like you can look in the financial space and you can look at Robert Kiyosaki,
right?
And you can look at Grant Cardone. They both teach the same basic principles, but very different vibes.
Yeah. Well, right? And that's so funny because I definitely know it, with those two examples that I resonate with one
over the
far
other.
better than the other.
Yeah, but it's the same information. They're going to teach you the same thing. The same thing is true here. And the other thing that I would point to with this, people who say, well, somebody else is teaching it out there, your local market, you can make $1 million a year very easily out of a local market. Like it doesn't, I don't care if you're in a small town of 50,000 people.
Yeah.
You have enough client base there to make $1 million. And if you're speaking routinely around there, like I think we're going to see a shift from these national quote influencers. I think it's going to go back down to more local because people are looking for trust.
Yes.
And if they meet you in person, they're going to trust you a whole lot faster. I'm not saying you can't go outside of that, but if you focus on local, especially with speaking, it's really easy to get local speaking gigs. Go out. If you get known in your community, you can easily build $1 million business without all the social media and all the crazy stuff that you have to do. Because all we're going to see with AI is there's going to be more and more and more content, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And like, how do you beat all that? Meeting people in person.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so true. So that, being a speaker at an event of somebody else is a great idea. I've done a lot of that and it's helped me in my business. Now, what if people want to have their own events? You were mentioning that you just came off a weekend where somebody was doing their own event. And they're saying, how would I go about this? And how am I going to get people to come?
Absolutely. So there's a couple things I'll say to that. So this room was a pretty small room. Um, our cost to put on the event was probably, I would say, 15 to 20K all in. Now, it doesn't have to be that expensive per person. There's a couple, man, I can give a lot. I don't want to overwhelm people. The first thing is, if you have a local area audience, it's easier to put on an event. Something you might start with is just a dinner event. Go to a decent restaurant. It doesn't have to be a 5-star steakhouse. Go to a decent restaurant that has a private room, because you're going to want it to be quiet. You don't want it to be in the dining room. Get a private room. You're probably going to pay roughly $100 a head. That's a good place to start. That's a good place to activate people. Now, I know this isn't a 3-day event, but doing a dinner event, especially if you're chiropractor, med spa, something like that, and don't make it a sales event. Make it you can do a client appreciation event. That's a great place to start.
That's a nice one.
And the way that you get business out of that is you say, hey, Kim, I want to invite you to come to this event, this dinner that I'm putting on. You've been a great client of mine. I want to pick up your tab. I want to pick up your partner's tab. And if you know somebody that would be a good fit, it's not a sales event, but if you just bring them, we're going to pick up their tab as well. I promise I won't hard pitch them. So what happens? You're going to have 10 clients in the room. I would say roughly half to 2/3 are going to bring somebody. Those people are going to, through osmosis, realize that you are the person that can get them the same result that all the other people in the room have.
Yeah.
You need to do a 30-second pitch of, hey, it's great to have you guys here, and talk about the successes and make your clients the stars, because all the other people in the room will see it. That is probably the easiest event. You don't even need to speak more than 5 or 10 minutes. It's a very easy event. There's no AV, and you're looking at $100 a person. So if you have 20 people in the room, you're at $2,000. That's a really easy, low-cost event that I promise you will pay for itself. I mean, if average client value is 10K a year, you should get 4 clients out of that.
And that, saying it that way makes it seem like a reasonable investment too. Like, and you could even do that, as you said, just with clients. But I love the fact that you're saying, tell them to bring somebody and that you're going to pay the bill. Plus, it makes them look really good. Hey, come and have a free meal and learn some stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's really it. Like, you want to teach a little bit, but you don't want to teach a ton at that. It's not give an hour presentation. Teach for 5 or 6 minutes, but really talk about your clients and talk about the things that your clients did and the successes that they had. Cause that's all your clients, would-be clients, don't care about the path to get there, right? Don't sell the trip to Hawaii, sell Hawaii. Same thing here. Sell the outcome. And the easiest way to do that is talk about the client's outcomes. And then the people in the room that aren't clients will come ask you about that. So that's the first event that's really low risk. The second one is a lunch and learn at a local co-working space. The caveats to this, to make this work well, they will tell you, they will promote it. That means it's going to go in the bottom of a newsletter that goes out once a week. Go to the co-working space, get on the calendar for a month from now, go to the co-working space, flyer every door at least 3 times. And I would say twice the week of. Show up with tacos. Everybody likes tacos and pre-made salads. It's going to cost you probably $200. The co-working space won't charge you for it. And then the key is they get the food after they listen to you. So you do it in a private room. You put the food on the table behind you, and they have to be in the room. Usually it helps take an extra person to stand at the back of the room and make sure that people come in.
Yeah.
Then also put that event on Eventbrite, put it other places. Like, you're probably not going to get a ton of traction from it, but it doesn't hurt, and it's very cheap. So that whole cost for that is like $200 to $300. Now, this is you speaking for an hour.
Yeah.
The other easy places are nonprofits nonprofit charities that you believe in. Though a lot of times you're not going to give a speech on how to do X thing. You're going to give a speech for the charity, right?
Yeah.
It might be 15 minutes. You're going to donate something in return for that stage time, but you usually get to give a flyer to everybody there. That can build
Okay.
business. Rotary clubs are really good. BNI groups. BNI groups, I know a lot of people are like, oh, that's overrated. You can get plenty of business. This is a good place to start speaking without a lot of risk.
Right.
You,
I think that's a really good point, is there's going to be people that are totally averse to speaking at all. And then, just starting out, that's a great place, a BNI or a Rotary Club or something like that. So
yeah,
I think that's a really good suggestion for somebody that's a little bit maybe nervous of getting up there and talking. I really love the nonprofit idea too, is going in, and if there's an alignment, to be able to support your local nonprofit and then have them be able to support you in some, a little bit as well.
yeah. It's not, I mean, nonprofits can be, you really want to talk about how you're changing the world, how some of your clients change the world, right? And don't make it all about you and what you do. If I speak at a nonprofit, I say, like, everybody here has a story. Here are some of the stories that we told. I'm adopted. I donate quite a bit to adoption agencies.
Right.
I'll go speak at their nonprofits and I'll talk about how story is so important and it gets people to lean in. That's not me selling anything. And I use stories of the agency to highlight how stories work so well. It's a 10 to 15-minute talk, but at the
Yeah.
end of it, do people know what I do? Absolutely. Do people come up and talk to me? Who are the people that are at most nonprofits? CEOs, C-suite executives.
Right.
Target audience for pretty much anybody with a service-based business. You don't need to do a hard pitch at all.
Yeah. But it's so great because it really supports your brand.
Yeah.
It really, you can, it's all about your values and the way you think, and getting people to understand and have this perception of you with ease. It's like you make it sound like it's so much easier than we make it out to be. Like we get our knickers in a knot about it because it's like, oh my gosh, I have to speak. I have to speak. But and I know, I've done some work with you, and you have a really great um, system of pulling out those stories, and making sure that there's ways to get it across without feeling salesy. And that's another key point, is people feel like, okay, I don't want to get up there and just be selling myself. Um,
Just talk about successes that your clients had, not that you have had. Talk about, so it always starts the simple framework. What is the pain point that the audience has? Align that to one of your past client pain points. Tell the story, and this was my client's pain point. These are the things they had tried to do to solve it and failed. This is what I helped her with or him with. And don't say exactly what it is. Like, that piece is just a 10-second. So I helped them solve this. You want the curiosity. You want
that's
them leaning in, being like,
key.
what did you do? And
Yeah,
then you talk about the outcomes that they got. And it doesn't matter what the thing is.
yeah,
So pain points, what they tried to do and failed, you help them, and then outcomes. And if you tell that story can be 2 minutes to 10 minutes.
yeah,
If
yeah.
you,
That's perfect.
it's,
I remember you teaching that to a group of people, and that was literally a complete mindset shift for myself, and realizing too that we get up there and we want to solve people's problems, as you talked about previously. Like, there's so many people that get up there and they want to teach, but people have to realize why they want to be interested too. So that's why I'm, make sure that you get Steve's free gift, Death to Bad webinars, because it's it'll have some great tips in there. So this has been great. You've been giving us so much value. Before you go, I'd love to ask you, there's going to be many people in the audience there that are entrepreneurs who are starting to do workshops, webinars, or speaking. Maybe it's even on podcasts to grow their visibility. What advice would you give them to make those opportunities really count? What is the best thing they can do?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, tell great stories, because if you tell a good story, people won't remember what you teach. They'll remember very little of what you teach. They'll remember how you made them feel. And if you make them feel good, if you make them laugh, if you make them feel like what you do is possible for them, then they'll remember that and they'll reach out and they'll have conversations with you. That's the biggest single thing that I can tell you. If you're hosting a workshop, if you're going out and speaking other places, have fun with it. Like, that's the one other thing. If you're thinking about this and you're like, I'm not funny, I don't tell good stories, I'm really nervous, how do you get over that? You go do the thing. I would really, really encourage you to go join a local improv and do some improv workshops. You will get over yourself very quickly and you'll have fun doing it. So I don't care if you
That's
say,
a good thing too. We all need to have a little bit of fun, right?
yeah, that right there. I mean, I did it way back in the beginning. It gets you out of your own way. It's a safe space. There's no audience in the beginning. It's just other people in the improv. And then before you know it, it rewires the way your brain works, and it will loosen you up when you present, which is, everybody says, I want to be authentic. I don't want to seem plastic. I don't want to seem salesy. Well, the way you get there is through practice. There's no shortcut to it. You just have to practice. Improv groups are a great place to practice.
I love that. That's great advice. Well, thank you so much for coming and sharing your knowledge with everybody. I've put up your website, StephenPhilipWerner.com. And don't forget that you can also get the I'm putting that up again too, deathtobadwebinars.com, with great tips. And the best place to reach you if people are trying to find you is at your website, or
they can go through the website. If you go to steve.coffee, steve.coffee, that will also get you Death to Bad Webinars is there. My calendar link is there, as well as a few other freebies. That's a really easy place to connect with me.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. And we'll see you all next time in The Scene Live. Take care. Bye for now.